Hey there, friends. I hope that you're having a pleasant morning. Just a little disclaimer, this might be long. This is a new Ephemera collection journal. The cover is a 1924 book, The Blossoming of Patricia-the-Less by Lyda Larimore. I could not find anything about the story, The Blossoming of Patricia-the-Less. I did find a little bit out about Lyda Larimore, but that was it. I wish that I knew what the original book was about. It is 3 signatures. It is a sewn binding here. The closure is a faux mother-of-pearl button that came out of one of my exquisite button jars. I am so lucky. People send me button jars like from their old aunties or their grandma and they're such treasures to me. And this button came out of a button jar. And I love it. The way that I've attached it is there was also like a little hat pin in the button jar as well. So I just kind of pushed the button through and then secured it with a hat pin. That worked really good, and it also kind of gave that little closure a little more magic. I just thought it really did work really great. Again, this is 1924. There's a great illustration on the inside cover of this book, a vintage envelope to start you out. Very vintage. It's like I said, it is a vintage collection, you guys. I'll kind of point to the things that aren't vintage so you can see what is and what is not. This is not a vintage piece, but it went so well with the book that I just really did have to use it. This, of course, is a vintage piece. It is an article about beekeeping. I thought it went really well with this non-vintage piece, which is a very shimmery, almost holographic bee. The wings are got this really cool, sparkly, shiny, holographic thing going. This is 1943. Now, because this book had so much vintage in it, I actually had to make notes about what I put in here, y'all. This is I think this is the 1924 Metropolitan Cookbook right here. It talks about candy decorating. There was a wonderful department store in Indianapolis, Indiana called Ayers, Ayres, and it was like an innovative department store. They were like one of the first department stores to have gas lights and telephones and to use an actual credit card and things like that. It's such a rich, super cool story. Reminded me of The Paradise, the PBS series The Paradise that was on for only 2 seasons. I'm still so sorry that they took that off. I thought it was a great show. But this is a little piece from that. Photograph of Candy and Epicure's shop. This is probably from around the 1900s. Not a vintage piece, but a vintage written recipe for raisin filling, and it's written on this exquisite graph paper. It's just kind of jotted down. You can kind of get the sense of someone maybe sitting at tea with the ladies and raving over a raisin filling and a piece of pastry and someone scribbling down a recipe. I like to imagine things like that. I think that's what makes vintage items in a journal so rich, is just the history behind them. When you would go to Ayers, there was the Ayers Tea Room, and it was like the place to go. So this is a photograph from, I clipped this from a book about Ayers. We have, this is so fun. We have portions of a book called The Silent Hostess. It was issued by GE, and it is about how to use your new refrigerator. silent hostess refers to the refrigerator as a hostess. I love that. The illustrations are incredible. I love the menus. Informal tea, formal tea. This is 1930. Cocktails. Nothing is more tempting to the eye and appetite as one sits down to luncheon or dinner than a cocktail of fresh fruit, highly seasoned clam or tomato juice or shellfish served with a snappy sauce. But the secret of serving perfect cocktails lies in serving them very cold. Keep cocktails in the chiller until ready to serve. Don't you love that? This is a cannonball cocktail. This is 1932, When You Entertain, Coca-Cola Publications. Ice cold Coca-Cola with pineapple and cheese canopies in the living room. Casserole of veal with Parisian potatoes and asparagus tips. Pimento coleslaw. Strawberry charlottes. Coffee. This kind of menu lends itself to serving in the living room, which I thought was really, really neat. A lovely bit of ephemera. C. Martin Kamar was the first lieutenant, and he was with the Osaka military government team. He sends his wife a birthday greeting, and it says, "A happy birthday to my wonderful wife, Barbara. All my love, Martin." I think that the postage mark up here is really, really neat. It has an airplane on it, so super cool. This is from the Blue Book of Canning, 1943. The illustrations are incredible. I did not even know that people canned meat, but there are recipes in here for roast fowl, for tongue, for poultry preparation for canning, mince meat, meatballs, roast meat. I did not know that. This is directions for a formal bridge supper. You have jellied ham, Creole salad, cheese straws, rolled butter sandwiches. The level of caring and preparation for entertaining people it's really a lost art. I just find these recipes, these stories, these menus super enchanting. Such a sense of, just such a sense of caring, and it's just a different level of caring that these, early 20th century recipes give us. Here's a recipe for cream kisses and chocolate taffy, suggestions for how to decorate a shower for beauty, showers for various occasions, menu for a beauty shower luncheon. I'm not sure what a beauty shower luncheon is. A baby shower luncheon. Dramatizing the breakfast occasion. This is a sweet card, you guys. This is Miss Geneva Merrill's card. We can see her writing right up here. It features Scotty Dogs, in appreciation of your work in helping make the orchestra a good one. And that is from Miss Florence. Again, we're thinking this is maybe 1920s, 1930s. More beautiful recipes. Angel parfait on surprise, butterscotch parfait, maple parfait. The illustrations are amazing. I'm thinking that maybe they were photographs and then they were painted. I did read about a technique for painted photographs and thought it was really interesting how people would take photographs and then they would, enhance them with inks and things like that. This is from the 1942 Red Cross Home Nursing Manual. This is about the importance of an attractive tray that's set for the convenience of the patient. A beautiful piece that talks about the appearance of the tray may affect the appetite favorably or unfavorably, how important it was to set a beautiful tray for your patient. I mean, we don't think about that level of caring anymore. This is a non-vintage piece. Y'all, I made my own washi tape from a vintage dictionary to use in this book. When I tried to put 21st washi tape, century washi tape in here, it just did not look very good. So I kind of invented my own washi tape. It was a discovery for me. I'm sure that everybody else knows how to do it. A sweet little card says, "To baby," a flocked card. We know this is from the 1940s. "Dear Kathy and Harry, just heard the good news. I know that you will make wonderful parents. Take time out to enjoy the baby. They grow up so fast." We have 5 children, and Mrs. Fournier goes on to talk about her children and their ages. 1942 Red Cross Home Nursing Manual. This is a setup for baby's bath. And you can see all the various pots and pans, the baby's little nappies up there hanging on a little post, the newspapers on the floor to catch the water. This was like before running water, before people had indoor plumbing. This is how you would arrange to bathe your baby. Another bit of Ayers ephemera. Have air conditioning in 1929 outside of New York, first to display equipment used by Admiral Byrd on his polar flight in 1926. This is a vintage photograph. It's an old black and white. It looked like a crowd in front of a department store, so I thought it really did match well. This is the Gardener's English History for Children. I've had this book forever and ever. The book itself stops in 1880. It covers English history from like the Roman times to 1880. So I'm thinking this is probably late 1880, maybe early 1900s. This is the part about Charles I and his march to the border. 1988 Rise Up Singing book, and I know that you'll recognize some of these tunes. "Come All You Fair and Tender Ladies." I learned this on the guitar when I was probably, 9 years old. I remember my uncles having this book, or they had books that featured these kinds of folk songs in them. Dictionary page, a beautiful envelope from 1926. I love this 1988 plant book. I married the portions of the plant book along with a vintage pack of seeds that was put up by the Genesee Valley Seed Company in Dalton, New York. This is an ice plant. The picture here is of an orchid. The people that I cat sit for have orchids, and I used to be kind of freaked out by them. I was like afraid I was going to kill them while they were away. But they're quite hardy and they're really beautiful when they bloom. 1975 advertisement for a Zenith television. I do believe that we had that TV way back when. More 1975 advertising. This is a little section about dill, and I love that. In Europe, dill was, dill was like a magical plant, which I think is just really super neat. I love dill because I like dill pickles a whole lot. Vintage 1926 Three Musketeers right here in French. Very, very beautiful. There it is, magic. In Europe, dill was a favorite herb of magicians and sorcerers who used it in casting their spells. But in the United States, dill is only used to flavor food. It grows well in the herb garden together with parsley and chives. I'm really lucky because my neighbors next door have dill and parsley and chives and rosemary and basil and all kinds of things. They grow it in a box, and I'm welcome to it. How wonderful to have fresh herbs that you don't have to deal with at all. It's just such a blessing. Their garden is just such a blessing to me. This is Black's Law Diet from 1968. Some super old Swedish text. Crazy about the paper here, you guys. It's just so beautiful. It's kind of got that crispy-ish feel to it and sound to it, because yes, we can talk about the way that paper sounds, right? A souvenir from 1904, more of the Gardener's English history, this time with some illustrations, the Cavalier and the Puritan, a coach in the time of Charles I, and what England looked like during the Civil War, England and Wales in the Civil War. This is a modern piece, but it featured vintage dresses, and so much vintage beauty that I did include it in this highly ephemera guided book. More dictionary pages, Black's Law Diet, the 1988 Sing Out book. This is How to Keep a Record of the Patient's Care for the Doctor, 1942 Red Cross Nursing Manual. A little more with the orchids. This is a sweet little pocket, you guys. Ancient German text. I believe my friend said this was from 1880. It is like a mini book, and I've included 2 pages in here for you. This is a wild photograph of a woman like standing upside down. It looks like there's a cathedral there. It looks almost like a burned out cathedral. I really don't have any idea what the photograph was about, but I think it's so interesting. This is a receipt for taxes in 1871. A beautiful photograph on some of the chipboard. 1926 blotter pad that you can kind of still see the numbers and the handwriting on. Oh, the stories that blotter pad could tell. I think it's beautiful because to me it looks like a piece of art. So just a sweet little pocket for you guys to play with. Again, the homemade washi tape right here. That was a fun discovery. A vintage postcard. More vintage ephemera for you. This was taken at W. Shaw Warren at 29 Temple Place in Boston, established in 1862. Again, these aren't copies, friends. These are real vintage pieces. A beautiful letter dated May 3rd, 1889. It is from the Burlington and Missouri River Railroad in Nebraska. Will you please send me a statement of living for Township Road taxes levied in your county for 1889. So this is business ephemera. A beautiful envelope, a little handmade, a little hand-colored card for Easter, a canceled check from 1901. I really wanted this book to reflect the 1924 cover. I wanted it to be a slice of history from that period. This is from 1943. This is a commencement invitation, and this is a congratulations card. Look at the inside of that envelope. For your commencement, I'd share in your commencement by saying this to you. I'm proud of your achievement. I wish you gladness too. I know that graduation stands out a day apart, and may its happy hours live long within your heart. It's signed Mr. and Ms. E.L. Hibb. It's very Art Deco, my friends. That gold pop, good gracious, an exquisite card. Slip that back in its envelope. 1851 paper from the the Patent Office Report on Agriculture, 1851, and you can see the exquisite way that this paper has just yellowed and mottled. It's crazy beautiful. Well, let's fold this out because this is kind of a triple piece here. We've got some bird ephemera. This is an interesting postcard. I cannot see the date on it. The postcard itself is from Mrs. Sower Welch. Dear Mrs. Bobber, please feel free to show my letter if you feel it is of any use. Margaret Weed. Now, to me, this says Mrs. Barber is in some sort of trouble, and Mrs. Weed is perhaps a socialite, perhaps someone that people look up to, and she can smooth things over for Mrs. Barber. I just think that it is a super cool piece just to think about. This is a great journal for story starters if you're into that kind of thing. Salvage script right here, and I'll show you the rest of this as we kind of proceed. This is 1889. I love these little bird. They're just tiny tags, y'all, and I'm not sure where they came from. The Brook Bond Canada Limited is where they're from. And I do believe that they are period specific because they were in this same collection of ephemera. Parchment birthday card, a beautiful Easter card, 1851 paper, a warranty deed from 1900. That is just beautiful. It has the stamps on it right here. Best wishes for Christmas. This gift I send is very small, but good wishes folded in are ever so much greater than they have ever been. And you guys are not going to believe this, but it's a little handkerchief that has been sealed in some cellophane, a cellophane bag, and put into this Christmas card. A vintage Christmas card here, vintage envelope here, more of the bird ephemera right there. This is an actual commencement program. I think this is just exquisite, you guys. It's 1926. And you can flip through. This is the original cording on it. Annual commencement, Belmont High School, Thursday evening, May 28th, school auditorium, 8 o'clock. This is the program. This is embossed where it says program. This is the class roll right here. Their class motto was sunrise, not sunset. The colors were old rose and gray. The flower was an American Beauty rose. This is another piece of lovely commencement ephemera. Class of 1926, Richford High School. Commencement exercise, Friday evening, June the 11th at the Colonial Theater. Again, another like super cool Art Deco piece. Let me see if I can get all of this pinned back in here. There we go. I love having the class roll. I think that is just really neat. This is the top of the, I believe this is the top of the warranty deed. You can see that you have exquisite handwriting here. Of course, in a dipped fountain pen, ink pen. Another vintage photo here, a golden text here. Vintage greeting cards. Love this parchment greeting card. This is a pocket with a letter in it that you guys are just kind of not going to believe. The letter does not have a year. Yesterday I received your letter first. You see, as I had written to you, it seems my fate, as soon as I got one from your father and mother the day after I had written to them. But I cannot afford to burn mine. I can give you a little information. A major has been here yesterday that had been to Coop Douglas to see his son. There he brought a letter from Joseph stating that he thought of coming home before leaving for, I'm not sure what this is, as so they are really going under Jim Love. William Harvey is chosen as one of the bodyguard to the colonel of the regiment. Tomorrow, all the women in the settlement are going to cook something nice to send to camp on Friday. I do not know how many tins I have gone through, but I do not use currants or raisins for home use. She does not use currants or raisins for home use, so that I can do better by the soldiers. We had a good quantity of cherries last spring, and I dried some. They make quite a substitute for raisins in mince pies. There's an explanation of an expedition. Oh, how I wish all the generals were like Leanne, that then war would soon be over. I believe it's from the Civil War. I'm not sure. I think so. But I'm not sure, you guys. It's an exquisite piece. It's a one of a kind. It's a personal letter to another person. This is 1889, the Bond's proof of publication notice. On the inside here is actual news articles about an election. And then if you flip this over, it's another beautiful envelope. I'll put all this back together. Always be careful removing your paper clips, you guys. Always be super careful. It's chippy paper. It's beautiful paper. Commencement exercises at Murray High School. Friday evening, May 28th, 1943. A beautiful old vintage Christmas card. Dictionary pages right here. This is a card to Mrs. Nellie Foster at 428 West Main Street, North Adams, Massachusetts. And on the end, of course, it's open right here. This is how you would open your letters, with your letter opener right here, usually at breakfast. It's dated 1925. Many happy birthdays. The more you have, the less your friends suspect them. Love, Susan. A bit of humor there, birthday humor. This is a piece from the 1907 Shakespeare's Fairy Tales for Children. It's Titiana and the Clown. I love this book. I've had it for a long time. The illustrations are remarkable. It's time for me to pass along that love to you guys. So there will be more of this showing up in subsequent journals. I loved this piece. The stamps just really did match Tatiana's little ensemble that we have going here. And an antique emerald pool from Yellowstone National Park. Matchbook closes out this journal, you guys. There's a few more vintage ephemera pages back here. I will have the Blossoming of Patricia-the-Less in the store a little later on today. It's Sunday. I hope that you enjoyed this little trip down through history. I think that we went from the 1700s all the way to the 21st century. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If so, please give me a thumbs up and a comment below. Have a wonderful Sunday, y'all. Talk to you soon. Bye.